I mean, adding to what Roberto is saying, that's perfect. But the good thing here, bad thing for me because my God, it was a lot of work. But the good thing here is that as try to explain, I decoupled the signing and I refactored the signing of the wallet as layers of iterative sequences of plugins trying to add the missing signatures. Okay, this is complicated, but what I want to say is that I managed to separate the signing process in such a way that you can handle uh, this adding of witnesses uh, as you want. I mean, as you want, like using, for example, the multisig plugin that Game Changer has now that works on Game Changer file system that I'm going to talk later. Or you can do it manually, or you can do it with the API. This is powerful. I mean, everything that I try to do with the wallet now is available for developers. And this is important because I tried to manage the internals of the wallet the same way as a DApp could handle them. And I provided all this stuff on the API to to you guys, to anyone. So this means that you can create your own multi-sig strategies. Multi-sig as in, hey, I am a transaction or a group of transactions and we are missing signatures. Please find out the way to attach the signatures that I am missing. Okay, that's the thing that this is Game Changer now. So you can find your own ways to, to attach signatures via API, and that's multisig. It's a valid multisig. You can do it, I don't know, using even Ravens if you want, and it's valid and it's okay. And even if you want, you have even a manual multi-sig um, uh, like input of uh, witnesses that you can like copy paste an hexadecimal piece of data and you can attach that when you are signing, and that way you can do a multi-sig even offline. And this is important because I mean I have to figure out some minimal UX UI actually stuff, and soon we should be able to have cold wallets, completely cold wallets with Game Changer. So you can do whatever you want. You can build transactions without the keys, and then you can attach fully off chain, offline. I mean, the signatures that are missing. All this thanks to this huge refactor and plugin based uh, signing for transactions.
It's that idea that the two showed me already available, generally available for for requiring the signatures using a game changer file system.
Yes, yes, everything I said is available. It can have bugs, it's okay, but it's available. Please remember it's a beta, and I literally decided this with you, Roe, and people on the team because the idea was to start receiving a, feedback as early as possible to finally adapt what we are doing because we were working, in the darkness, blindly. We need your feedback, guys, to understand what is complicated, what concepts are difficult to understand, what is missing, what is buggy. So that's the idea. But yes, you uh, replying to that, yes, it's there, it's available. Um,
Adriano,
play with it. That's it. Yes.
In how, you know what would be nice? This is a total basic question or comment. It would be nice to see what version of the wallet I'm using. I keep clicking around to see. I'm like, what version is this? What's the number? Something like
It's a it's a mystery. No, you're right. You're right.
that.
The thing is that yes, we should like show the exact version all the times. It's just that I don't know. We we didn't do that before. We should. I mean, from yes, the thing is that what I don't want to do is to generate like parallel deploys during beta. I remember some pioneers programs. I don't want to generate too much chaos between the people that is using the the beta, um, and that just that. So yes, of course, versioning is important, but
So so it's currently frozen. This is gonna be it is
no,
not a
no,
lively beta.
it's going to evolve. It's going to evolve all the times. But every major change, I am going to try to I add this notification like inbox or place on the wallet. So maybe very important announcements are going to be launched there. And remember, this is pre-prod. This is pre-production testnet. So we are like safe for now to commit some errors. Everybody. Once we get everything prepared for mainnet, beta on mainnet, that's going to be much different, and we have to uh, we will have to pay attention to much more stuff. Yeah, I mean it's the moment to break the wallet. I'm sorry to say this, Adriano. I'm talking to myself.
I've got a question which kind of ties into what is being currently discussed. I think, yeah, it's interesting. I get where you're coming from with the hesitance to introduce the the versioning, right? But at the same time, there's also the breaking change conversation to be had with, how different wallets handle accounts or sort of like indexes, right? I feel like that's quite a main or major thing, right? If the intention here is to actually have it be really interoperable with the existing implementations, yeah. So I'm just curious as to how you're thinking about that. Is there a particular thing which right now isn't particularly possible? Sort of like going back to what you're referring to with the HD wallets. Is there anything that right now isn't possible that in the near future will be? And how does the sort of HD versus an HDM type um, interaction work?
Okay, I got lost a bit, sorry, with the first part. I mean, what are you worried about? If this is going to change or if this is missing features that I'm planning during the beta that are going to appear during time?
Both.
Ah, okay, okay. So
Yeah.
the most important. So to recap, I don't know who has been following everything or who is not, but one of the key features behind this spiciness from this version is this thing called game changer file system, and it's actually a protocol to write and update several files on chain. Okay, it's like perma pinning whatever files on chain and update them because you can update them. It relies on basic Shili era as I like. Tech, it's based on native scripts and kind of this a very similar standard as the first era of Cardano NFTs. So it can be like understandable for most of the developers and people around. But it's combines things from the new eras that are basically datums. Okay, so the data is stored on datums in several transactions, unlimited. I mean, depending on how much you want to spend, you can have very big files on chain. Maybe the limitation on this version 1 of the protocol is the size of, like, as I call it, the header of the protocol, the size of the metadata of this file system, meaning the file names and the directory structure and other minimal parameters. Okay, the size of this is the only limitation now. I found out that in practice it may start being a problem in the near future. So, answering your question, for example, this is one of the key reasons why this protocol may get an upgrade and it can stop being or backwards compatible to the current version, or it can, I don't know, evolve somehow. Even if you change some minimal parameters on the protocol, you made all the previous data stored on chain unreadable. I mean, not unreadable, readable for the current implementation of the protocol. Everyone that has the previous parameters are going to be able to access that data. But the important thing here is that, and I want to emphasize this is the idea of the beta. And if you check these release notes, that I'm going to maybe start a repo on GitHub or whatever and get it off the wallet, but you have them on the notification of the wallet now. I said that this protocol may evolve during the beta, and this is the idea. Maybe on time we made some improvements, or maybe we find out that it's okay as it is right now. Maybe we do some bug fixing, and that's it. If the protocol changes, of course, a lot of stuff that relies on this will change. For example, multisig and workspaces. Okay, to clarify. And of course, I don't know, whatever you want to build. I repeat, everything that is on the wallet now, or almost everything that is on the wallet, every feature, is available on the API. I managed to design the API in such a way I could reuse the same things that I consume inside the wallet, and the same stuff is available for the app developers. Meaning that, of course, you can access Game Changer file system with the API. You can access multisig with the API. You can access workspaces with the API. Whatever. So the idea of this first stage of the beta is to try out this edge to find out potential bugs and to maybe discover the thing that I'm most particularly interested in is to see how you guys start using this, because I know what we can build with this, but I want to find out what you understand of this, what you look behind this, what you think we can start building with this stuff, or you just see like okay, it's a, I don't know, we can
Wait, there is
file, that's it. I mean,
to-
yes, bro.
it's just too much for people to digest. That's
No,
my feeling. That's my personal. I've been having updates from you, so I've been able to digest high level. Now I get to whenever I get my hands dirty with the new API, I know I will be just exploding. That's why we need to do the game changing school so we can teach people and unpack all these features because it's just too much. It's just too much. I wouldn't expect
Yeah, I
much people being able to grasp all the details that makes it so special, because that's the thing, right? You have a file system on chain. What does it mean? You said we can evolve the protocols. You have some configuration for your wallet, for your workspaces, which essentially stores the HD derivation schema that you have, that can be very heterogeneous, customizable. So that's config that you have on chain now, only available to you. That's cool. If we update the protocol, there could be some migration schemas, and that's it. You evolve your configuration for the next version of the game changer, so you are safe on that side of game changer evolving, because now we can treat those files as regular databases, right? For configuration of the wallet. And regarding the last question from A, yeah, interoperability with other wallets, you won't be able to import all these. I mean, they will need to. Other wallets will need to, derive all your derivation paths and get the addresses for all your workspaces. That's doable, and you can share those derivation paths with whatever other wallet that allows you to have custom derivation paths, because currently there are only single address wallets which derive from private key, account 0, index 0. But that's the cool thing. If this gets traction, people will ask that to other wallets. I don't know. This is something I find really cool, to have just a set of mnemonics where I can have multiple actual wallets, mix them, and or separate or completely separate them, based on concerns or based on use cases. But having one wallet with multiple profiles or workspaces is really cool, and I don't see other wallets doing that, or making it compatible with game changer file system. And maybe that's the advantage of this wallet right now. It does a lot of stuff that other wallets won't be able to do soon, because it's a lot of work. And that's fine. I think at some point I will say those protocols should become open protocols, so other people could build their own stuff. Otherwise, they will need to reverse engineer their wallets, actually, because you have the mnemonics, so you have and you have the files with the derivation paths. So you could do that yourself and check the transaction metadata and try to figure out how this works. But yeah, those are my thoughts about digesting the
Yeah.
wallet.
I mean, regarding interoperability, I, I mean, I did this because of interoperability, because no other wallet around was giving us the freedom to, I don't know, like at least access to special derived child wallets on whatever system we have nowadays working out there, to at least watch the balances. And this is not crazy, guys. I mean, for example, enterprise addresses. Why we don't have enterprise address? I don't know. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe there are wallets out there that has this, and I don't know. But for example, enterprise addresses. You have I don't know. You have a service. You are, I don't know, a service on Cardano. You have a backend. You are using these addresses, and you are a guy that you have to do maintenance or something with your own system. No way, you cannot. Or for example,
You have
Roberto.
privacy and you don't use privacy.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wait. So
that's a key
what am
important
I
thing.
hearing?
I want to talk about that, like an hour about that. Yes, yes.
Guys, hold up. Am I hearing that a PBL course for Game Changer is coming?
Uh, something,
Yep, yep, yep,
something we
yep.
have to do about this because
As James said, step by step, we will try to do our best, doing some live coding sessions. Cooperating on writing some JSONs, essentially. Um, Maybe from there we can extract some lessons or lectures, but that's something that always escaped my abilities, I would say. But yeah, to the list, we want to go live on Twitch. Yeah, show by building what we had on mind what Adriano had on mind when he developed all these features. For example, maybe incentivizing dandelion nodes, maybe some other stuff, maybe building a DAO using this wallet without smart contracts, just relying on multisig, that kind of stuff.
actually,
So,
I have to like to add a very small feature on the transaction builder that is going to allow DAOs. DAOs 100% DAOs on Game Changer with workspaces. And as I wanted this to be like um, the same user experience that you have with your regular single user, let's say, wallets, but with DAOs. Because why we should be doing anything different? Why a DAO operation has to be like just sending ADA? We could use the apps as a DAO or whatever. And this is important. We have to start unlocking the. I mean, as I always say, this wallet it aims to give freedom to users. And this is you can check that I'm saying this and it's true. Now you can do a lot of stuff, and I'm sorry sometimes I don't look too much into standards. I'm sorry, but I have to say this. Without that, is that I'm able to give you freedom. I am worried about some standards because
There are two ways to build the standards.
I mean, standards has their own reasons, and it's okay. I'm not going to argue about that. But if one person is thinking that a standard is not good enough for something, and if that person has not an alternative, that's a problem. And the idea is to build technology that goes beyond standards and allows people to implement their own standards, their own implementations of things. If you like to derive things differently, go and do it. One important thing here, and you mentioned this, is privacy. I understand why it has nice features. It's great for a lot of aggregators on the ecosystem. This the what I always say, the hierarchical deterministic copy pasted idea from Bitcoin on Cardano does not work for me because it's not enough. It's not good enough. We can do better. We
hey,
can
Adriano.
to decide if they want to keep the same anonymity that was intended on Bitcoin or to share the same stake credential across all their wallets. We don't have the freedom.
Adriano, can
Go
I ask
ahead,
you a
Doug.
quick question? Um, why so many UTXOs? Did you see that transaction that I posted in the chat? Was that what's happening there?
It's amazing. It's perfect. If you see a lot of UTXOs on a wallet, it's a healthy wallet.
Tell me
Like
more. Why is that?
Yeah,
This is
it's
a
like
new concept to
like
me.
your hair. It's like your hair. If you have a lot of hair, you have a healthy hair. If you have very few hair, I don't know how what's the word in English, but it's dangerous because you can get I don't know you someday you're going to end up no sexy. It's
Bald,
I
bald
can
head.
um,
Yeah.
the
I can
reason
answer that one.
okay I,
Parallelization.
yes
A healthy UTXO distribution allows you to interact with multiple D apps in parallel, right? Because if you um, concentrate your balance in just one UTXO and try to defragment, do this defrag, you will lock that while you are waiting for the transaction to have finality. All your ADA is locked, right? You cannot spend more because you are not sure if that one went on the blockchain and you have the change already back on your wallet and that kind of stuff.
Hey, hold on one second there, Santo. And folks. Santo, go ahead. What's the question here? That's yes, we do. Yes, we do with you. Oh, can you hear Roberto? The new API. The next one over.
key learnings as well. I'm hoping that the challenges we face, are going to be solved in this quarter. And good best of luck for your project. Sure. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Nin, hi Nin. I'm not sure Nin is with us. Quasar, are you still driving? Do you think you could go now? Okay, I think Nina is unavailable. So have the retro. Oh wait, please. working with the slots are open for members. And also within the technical parts of building within the Cardano ecosystem. Next slide. Okay, so new reporting guideline, and I'm going to pass this on to Khalid to take over. Hi, Khalid. You're on mute, just in case you're speaking.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. All right. That's really interesting to hear everybody's updates and just really fascinating to learn about your journeys. It's also interesting as we're in the Catalyst team to hear about your frustrations around some of the happening in the communication. We're constantly looking for ways to improve everything that's happening, really, particularly communication. So what I wanted to do, well, last time we met, we went through the funded project report and milestones guidance document, which basically laid out some, you feel there are improvements that are being made around reporting, around communication. It's an open document, and anyone can comment. And I just want to take a few moments to look at some of the comments that were made and talk about them a bit, and also let you know what we're doing about some of the feedback that we've had. I will say to you that it's really remarkable feedback. There's still opportunities to provide feedback if you want. Obviously, it's one of the talk about the document, which is right, and you also talk about the processes that we've laid out in the document. So it's really your chance to provide some of that feedback to us, and we'll act on it as best as we can. So I'm just going to go through some of the comments that we received. We're just talking about those comments and we're aiming to do around it. Simon, I don't think Simon was on the call, but he provided a lot of really positive feedback, positive in the sense that it was helpful to us when looking at this. So his first was around some elements of reporting needs to be confidential. And we've always had a policy that if
Was once deemed to be was it like a weapon or whatever, I mean munition. So I think super important, this idea of actually figuring out how to enshrine things on chain, right? Because those who disagree would want to, like have it completely wiped out of existence. And we're getting to a point where, one-click tyranny is quite possible. We're seeing what's happening with AI, so yeah. Anyway, just wanted to quickly kind of share those thoughts. And actually, sorry, with regards to design stuff, like you and me, like let's have a private conversation, and I can sort of expand on how I think I can be able to contribute. Yeah, with regards to just sort of simplifying some stuff and trying to make it a little bit more accessible. And one quick idea that actually came to mind was it would be neat now that the issue of having to enter your seed phrase is eliminated by having the burner wallet. It would be nice to, in addition, either have like some test ADA like automatically sent to the wallet, or some native asset, which someone can then try out different things without them having to like. I mean, it might affect conversion of people, getting, sending assets from the burner wallet to a wallet which they have custody of. But I think just at a point of being able to just experiment with stuff, having an asset, it can be, again, test ADA, given that we have test ADA millionaires here, I think. Or even just like a different native asset which someone can then be able to do different functions and really like just play around by themselves. I think that would be potentially quite helpful.
Okay, let's have let's have a call. Let's talk about all these ideas.
By the way,
Thanks.
there is still the faucet, built-in faucet on the testnet wallet, but we need to feed that pod because I was testnet ADA millionaire on the legacy testnet, but there are no much millionaires on this testnet. So when you have time or you are reminded somehow that we have that pod, you can send some faucet, some testnet ADA from the faucet. I will do that right now.
Thanks. Thanks. Thanks a lot. I was consuming a lot of testnet data with the file system to make all the tests. Okay, so um, that just I just want to say this that yes, all these new concepts are difficult to share to 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 share the whys, to share the reasons why are maybe important. Um, but at least the very basics of Game Changer are still there. The single address wallet without workspaces, the built-in transactions thing is, I mean, it's powered with new stuff, but you can still do the same old simple transactions and using titles and um, whatever. So this is the good thing. I want everyone to keep this in mind. Also to don't maybe panic so early with all the new stuff. There is a lot of stuff that is completely optional, of course. But the basics are still there. So don't I mean don't give up on Game Changer so early. Don't think it's too complicated now. It's the same old game. That's the reason why the UI maybe it's not maybe no maybe it's not perfect for the new version because actually it's an upgrade from I mean are small improvements from the version 1 and the same happens with the overall code. Those are improvements, not a huge rebuilding of the wallet. So you can keep in a lot of use cases you can keep the same old experiences. Maybe now with small features that improve the experience. For example, some feel that was a pain. The thing that the when you execute it, for example, version 1 a transaction, the app connection to run to create a transaction, the return URL it was insufficient. Everyone complained about everything about the return URL. So now the script generates complete JSON payloads that can be returned back to the DApps using URLs. And now I updated that today. The snippet, the auto-generated HTML snippet of code, now captures the return URL of this script we're testing, and it's super easy. It's just a single HTML, very small JSON there, sorry, the JavaScript there, and of course, I guess that we have to adjust this step by step, but there are basics that are still there and haven't changed that much. I have not been reading the chat. I'm very sorry. Any specific thing? Um,
I am curious. I'm hoping to hop off on the hour. is there anything specific that we haven't spoken about, or anything that you're hoping to address within this particular conversation? But also, one particular thing that came to mind is, given that Martin is here, like, are there any breaking changes or any new functionality that the hardware point of sale they put together would be affected, or not affected, I suppose, could benefit from or be affected by breaking changes and new functionality?
Yeah, the
Or,
transaction is different. So I need to adjust the QR code.
Yes. Actually, you could. I mean, everyone can make now smaller QR codes, for example, by storing on chain the script as long as you want, and as any function in structured programming, use arguments. So then the script that is actually encoded as a QR code has it's only going to pass arguments to an imported script that is coming from the file system. Okay, it's like
Let me
Yeah.
try to
a module. Yes.
let
Do
me
you have-
try to.
Oh.
Oh, go. I can ask the question later because I think
Can you make this your first tutorial, Adriano?
that will be cool.
I don't know if you want it now or we can start right away with
No,
something.
take your time and make a good one.
Okay.
So
okay.
if I have understood it correctly, you can store a game changer script on chain, so it becomes a disk NFT that you can export as a QR code that takes arguments, because it's a version 2 game changer script that supports arguments, so anybody could embed that into their website and pass arguments to it, and then you go to your wallet, it reads the game changer script from the on-chain reference that it's in the QR code, pass the arguments, and boom, you have Git on-chain.
Yes, you have it. It's perfect. I mean, it's permission.
Quote unquote.
You can. I don't want to complicate this discussion, but you can work with multisig and game changer file system rights, making it Git with pull requests. Okay,
That's where we want to get.
Going back to the original, yes, yes, this is correct, Roberto. That's the idea. The idea is that you can, it's like functional programming. You generate an upper function that is going to call a nested function, and it's going to inject or pass arguments. The thing is that this injected nested function is coming from game changer file system. So you reference that file through an URI, a URI that I can explain this in the tutorial because it's a bit complicated, but it's not that complicated, trust me. It's
what version of the
pattern file path is not that hard to understand. But okay,
what version of the app you are using? This QR code, I don't know, this reference on chain reference of the whatever. That's
the idea, and
because
the code,
also the front end can be stored there, so you could say, hey, read from here, load locally that stuff, and I'm sure that I'm loading exactly the same business logic every time.
Exactly, or you can use the latest tag version tag on the URI meaning that Game Changer is going to look for the latest version of that file system. So you will always be pointing to the latest version. If you update the file system, you still be able to reuse the same QR codes. The code wrapping or calling the functions that are on the file system don't have to change. You can point always to the latest version. So the QR code can stay static right now. And now you can make your updates using your minting cryptographic capabilities of the wallet, of your wallet, to update your code, your file system, and that's
which
it.
given that it can be a multi-sig back minting policy, will mean we need to agree. We actually need to agree. The committee of the app needs to agree on signing a new version, deploying it to the disk.
What you're saying is huge, and remember this. This is like the tip of an iceberg. I understand why we are using these references to native and Bluetooth scripts on chain to avoid lining them once and again on the transactions. It's a nice feature, it's okay. But what I don't like much about that solution is that we keep handling pieces of very, very low level data, untagged, unnamed. We don't know what is that piece of data, that piece of Bluetooth code moving around the blockchain. Game Changer file system, for example, it's an alternative. You can track, you can name, you can store forever on your workspace all that data to access the version you need, the name, script you need. And this is, I believe, this is one of the key features for all the upcoming DAO user experience, because you can define your DAO, current DAO structure, voting, spending, minting native scripts, for example, on a Game Changer file system with multisig. So when the current board, the current member group, the organization currently defined on the current native script agrees on moving on and adding a new member, on updating the signing policy of the treasury, whatever, they agree all to update the file system. And automatically all the wallets, all the dApps connected to the latest tag of the latest, this latest update of the file system are going to point to the new native script, to the new treasury address. Okay? And I think this is, I don't know, I believe this is game changing because it's going to add order to chaos.
And this is what I meant when I said there are two ways to build standards. There is a CIP 72 trying to figure out how we establish registries for script addresses and how we sign hashes that we put on chain, references the addresses, whatever, and then you can come up with a solution that fixes those problems and can become a standard. So you have the way of writing the spec and trying to future proof every use case, or you can build a bit more generic solution to, you know, rely on cryptography and rely on signatures, but, you know, build a bit more flexible. And that's what you do. You develop tooling that can become standard, thinking at the protocol level. That's
Maybe
That's
I mean
beautiful.
you are thanks, my friend. Um, the idea is maybe to agree on the building blocks, the API. That has been hard to create an API that can be combined between all the parts. To combine encryption with CIP8, with game changer file system, with workspaces. So, I mean, I understand why the standards are good. They bring a lot of order to chaos, but they will lock us on specific uh,
Boxes. And you
boxes.
sometimes
Yes.
need to think outside the box.
Maybe you need to do something else. So the idea is that if you build an API that can be easily pluggable and interconnectable with itself and extendable, you allow people to go further standards and really solve their problems. Because
Yep.
if a builder has to stop all his or her work to debate at the CIP level, you don't end up building stuff on time. You delay a lot of stuff, and I understand that it's
It's
good, it's healthy, but at the same time, I mean, at least for small teams, it's like, and to try to explain the reasons, and it's maybe you can go and build it and then discuss with the proof in hand what you were trying to say, and maybe discuss if it's worth it, if it was an error.
and it's the so just to be ready to have an answer for whenever someone asks why game changer file system and not IPFS. It's somehow the same case where, if we had chosen IPFS, we will have faced the challenge of persisting those files there, and maybe relying on some pinning service, maybe doing some Filecoin integration, or you go and prove the concept using your native blockchain and network because it's easier to integrate and it's gonna be there, and use it as Argwif. And at some point you could introduce support for Filecoin, and instead of backing that file system with with Cardano, you will back it with whatever other network, right? That's the least important problem. But having that, having interplanetary file systems, because I don't think we will have just one. It's great, and having our I started like that with the HTTP over Cardano idea, right? So I like it.
This.
If it becomes expensive or a problem, we will find our way to move away from starting on Cardano.
For example, regarding workspaces, why I mean, those are great solutions, but it's not the greatest solution. What is the ideal? You're handling something as important as your fans. That is, for example, wallet derivation scheme paths. If you store it elsewhere, you have to promise people that it's going to be there forever, because otherwise you are somehow
Lost.
It's terrible. I mean, to recap, if you lost these derivation paths, these recipes on how to recreate your own addresses, your own keys, you can lose all your funds, because your funds are going to be there, but you will not actually remember how to access them again. This is terrible. So, for example, if you have to solve a problem like this, that was the case with workspaces, the best storage place to choose is the same blockchain. And for example, the best place to store Bluetooth scripts or native scripts is on chain. Transactions on Cardano uses a lot of external, no, not external, like auxiliary stuff, auxiliary data like Bluetooth scripts, native scripts, certificates, whatever. So one of the problems that we had to face on the ecosystem was that we were storing these pieces of data once and again on the transactions, because the transactions need, the node need those information right there on the transaction, or at least they need it somehow in an easy way to be obtained and used for validation purposes. So it has to be something fast, it has to be there as close as the transaction as possible. Nobody hesitated. The upgrade of the fork of Cardano allow us now to reference scripts stored elsewhere on another transaction on newer transactions. So we are not storing, for example, scripts entirely once and again. So this problem is a problem that we are facing with different other pieces of data. But what I see is that it's not enough. We cannot, I mean, maybe it's not enough. For example, metadata. We are maybe using the same metadata or the same datums once and again on the same transactions. We are going to start adding new references, maybe. This is a problem. If we find out, for example, how to put some order on this chaos, like using a file system like the Game Changer file system, you can address that information using versioning, using names, file names, and it's a, I don't know, it's a nice solution, you know, and it's prepared for whatever it's coming. If in the future we need a new piece of data to avoid writing it once and again, we can use a protocol like this. And Game Changer file system has the ability to reference files previously written on the blockchain. So this way, this file system prevents you to not only waste or need more data to update the file system, but also to prevent multiple writes. The same problem, but with a broader, I don't know, solution, a more general solution. Of course, for the Cardano node, maybe it's not enough. Cardano node needs things much simpler, much low level, and it's okay. Reference scripts, and it is going to be fine. It's perfect. But for humans, me as a programmer, me as a user, I want the name. I want the name behind the script. Name behind, I don't know, a certificate maybe. The name. I want a version. I need those to avoid errors.
Yeah. Two quick points. I think going back to the point that I made about the user interface, I think it's interesting to dog food the idea of having an interface on chain preserved, starting with Game Changer itself, right? Being able to actually invoke the wallet itself, and then maybe one of the things that can come after that would be something along the lines of allowing for different people to have tweaks to that interface, which is in line with their own branding, right? Then again,